Colorado just sold out its season tickets for the second straight year. This is weeks after Tennessee also sold out its season tickets for the second straight year. No doubt in anybody's mind, Colorado was the sexiest program last year, even at 4-8 with Deion Sanders, because of their 3-0 start, upsetting the defending national champion runner-ups, I guess, in TCU to open the season. There was a lot of pizzazz behind them, a lot of excitement. Deion Sanders fed into that. Dave, you and I have totally had problems with things Deion Sanders has done in the past at certain levels, but the whole making a circus around Colorado, we can't blame him for that, right? He had to do something to be able to recruit at Colorado. And
I totally agree. I almost respect what he's done as a coach as much as a player. And he was one of the best athletes that's ever walked the face of the earth.
Yeah, so he had to do this to keep Colorado in the news, and everybody was covering them. You know, there kind of became a moment where, I mean, don't get me wrong, it got overcovered, but even if it's overcovered, I guess that's good for college football because it draws people in, because you had people asking if Colorado could compete with 2019 LSU. Spoiler alert, they couldn't, they never could have, and they never will be able to under Deion Sanders, because that 2019 LSU team may be the greatest college football team of all time. Okay, so taking all that into account, we look at Tennessee, which, after being the sexiest team in 2022, kind of flew under the radar last year going 9-4 and wasn't able to run its full offense. So with Colorado taking a step forward, you would assume Colorado would be the sexier team again this year. I think, and I've stood by this and I'm going to stick with it, Colorado will be the sexier team in September. But over the next 2 years, beginning with the last weekend in September, Tennessee will by far be the sexiest team in college football. Starting with the last week of September, they will be the ones that everybody wants to talk about for the next 2 years. You will see those national ESPN shows that want to do nothing but cover Deion Sanders realize they're getting more interest by covering Tennessee than Colorado. Because I've said this for a while. Josh Heupel has circled that Oklahoma game. He's dotted it. He's ready to bring something out that no one's ready for. They're going to win ugly versus NC State. That's kind of an early prediction I make. They're going to have like a Pittsburgh-type win, and it won't be a sexy win, so you're not going to hear as many teams talk about them. You'll just hear them generate buzz. Then they're going to face Oklahoma in 2 weeks. It's going to be a primetime game on a Saturday. Nico Iamaleava is going to have his Heisman coming out party in that game with Josh Heupel's offense. And from that point on, everybody's going to want to talk about Tennessee, because the Josh Heupel offense, with the level of entertainment that it generates, combined with the winning Tennessee is going to be doing, combined with the quarterback built in a lab to run that offense, is just going to be too much to pass up. So starting in October, from October of this year, to answer your question of who's going to be the sexiest team over the next 2 years, from October of this year until January of 2026, Tennessee will be the sexiest team.
That is a prediction. I love that. I don't think it's going to take that long. I really believe that Colorado, that ESPN and the powers that be will take Colorado a little bit more with a grain of salt. And for those of my here, I've got a little issue with my tongue. But I think that Colorado isn't an old story, but it's one that you want to be wary of. You don't want to beat it into the ground, because it got beat into the ground last year, and a lot of people resented Colorado. I mean, at some point, Prime has to be smart enough to know that there can be too much PR, and there can. And I feel like he's on the verge of that. So I'm not sure it'll even take that long. I think they'll take a wait and see approach from the beginning, and then Tennessee will take hold of the sexy national team in sometime in late September. But let me open that up. If it's not Colorado and Tennessee, or Tennessee, who might it be that would be the sexy team? I don't know that anybody else is even possible. It can't be an established team. It has to be somebody that's kind of coming out of nowhere, right?
Yeah, because USC should have been the sexiest team in college football the last 2 years. Couldn't we agree on that? With Caleb Williams and the Lincoln Riley offense, they should have been the sexiest team in college football. The only one that I think could make a push, I just don't believe in him as a head coach, but Arch Manning with Steve Sarkisian could make a push in a year or so. But, overall, yeah, it's, and to your point about the powers that be at ESPN, there's also, because, and this is something you talk about, I give you credit, because of the SEC's deal with ESPN, there's going to be more of an incentive structure for them to say to manufacture content related to SEC teams specifically.
Exactly.
And so even if Colorado is a sexier team,
and I told you that.
You did. Now, so I think that many of the sports networks are going to start. You're going to start seeing them by the way, in case you guys don't notice, no matter where the NBA ranks in popularity, and I think it's like the third or fourth most popular pro sport now, ESPN generates so much coverage for it because they have that big deal with the NBA, so they need it to do well. They need the SEC coverage, and so they're going to talk about it non-stop. And so you're going to see more competition for Colorado. Here's where things change, Dave. So Colorado's first game is North Dakota State. Tennessee's is Chattanooga. Here's the point where you might have where Tennessee overtakes Colorado by week 2. Colorado visits Nebraska on September the 7th. People think I'm delusional. I actually think Nebraska is going to be a better team this year under Matt Rule.
I don't think that's delusional at all. I think that's reasonable. I'm not going to. As a matter of fact, I don't know Nebraska's roster, so I don't want to make that pick. But Colorado wasn't very good last year. It's not like you have to be, Georgia to be better than Colorado. There are a lot of teams that were better than Colorado.
Yeah, I agree. So I think you could see them lose at Nebraska on September the 7th because there will be a lot of coverage for that game. And then you could see Tennessee beat NC State that same day. And that could be where Tennessee surpasses NC State. I just think that there's going to be, as high as I am on Tennessee, I think there will be some first month growing pains for Tennessee because of the transition to Nico and because of so many players getting healthy from last year. And that's why I say NC State's going to look like the Pitt game of 2022. I'm just going to predict this now. Guys, we're going to come back and talk about the Tennessee-NC State game that Monday or the Saturday after. And all you guys on the message board will be like, oh my gosh, how did we almost lose that game? We should have won that game. And we had 5 opportunities to put it away. It's going to be one of those type of games, Dave, where Tennessee had like 18 chances to put NC State away and couldn't do it, even though I think they're going to win. So I think it'll be that type of, thank God we survived. And then I think Oklahoma's going to come 2 weeks later. They're going to go visit Oklahoma, and they're just going to light it up. It will be at Jimmy Hyams on the show when you were on vacation, and I compared it to 1995 when Peyton Manning went to Fayetteville and just absolutely lit up Arkansas. And that's when everybody started talking about Peyton Manning on a national level.
Yep. Now, somebody on the message board said they've hired Warren Sapp. It's a clown show. But he's just a GA. My thing with Warren Sapp is I don't know. When's the last time Warren Sapp has gotten in trouble? It hasn't been that long ago, has it?
No, Warren Sapp was just a dirty player on the field. Like, I mean, his legal troubles have okay.
Doesn't that seem like a weird guy to ask to be a part of your club? That seems like a move you would make more out of getting more exposure and getting attention than the actual coaching X's and O's, right?
I think it's a favor. Warren Sapp filed for bankruptcy at multiple times, and Warren Sapp has also had a couple legal issues in the 2010s. I think Warren Sapp just needed a little bit of money, and Deion Sanders decided to do him a favor and hire him as a grad assistant.
Those two could start a second business on weed up there. Be great. Of course, there's probably a lot.
I don't think Deion does mind altering stuff, honestly. Alcohol or weed. I could be wrong on that, but I think Deion is one that's super clean on that stuff. Am I right on that? You know more about the combo.
No, that is true. I've watched all the documentaries. He was in that one hotel room with Michael Irvin and a couple of girls and some white stuff. And that was the one time he did it. He's like, I don't want to be around this stuff. And at the time when they both got arrested on the same night, you're thinking, holy Hannah, this is not going to work out well. But Deion was really the straight and clean guy. And Michael Irvin swears that he only did things a couple of times. He just got caught every time. Do you believe that?
No. Also, here's what I think with Michael Irvin. He did say one time, my problem wasn't drugs, it was women, and I like to do things with women that involve drugs sometimes. That's what I remember him saying that. But guys, let me be clear, not Bill Cosby style, guys, not Bill Cosby. He liked when they did coke together and alcohol together and things like that. It wasn't like I like to drug women. That's not what he was trying to say. Deion Sanders probably just liked the women and didn't need the drugs with it.
Sure. Or like Deion. Deion seems like the type of guy that could just look at himself in the mirror and get semi-aroused. I mean, don't you think? He's just taking a gander. It's a full length, and he's like, man, I look pretty good. You know, he can be clothed.
Oh, my gosh.
It doesn't have to get weird, Caleb.